This is the Sony ZVe10. As you can see, I like to rig it out pretty big. This is the rig that I used to shoot my story, the short film that I shot using the Sony ZVe10. Now, before we dive into how you can build this out yourself and what the advantages of all this is, I do want to let you know that I put together my top 10 lenses and accessories that I use for the Sony ZVe10. You can find that in the first link in the description below, so make sure you pick that out. Without further ado, let's get on with the video. Everything that you see right here, you can pick up for around about $1,500, including the camera itself and a good lens. Now, the first thing we're gonna do to build out the ZVe10 is take this camera rig. Now, this camera cage is by Small Rig, and this thing is a game changer. On the Sony ZVe10, it has a super shallow handle on it, so when you have big hands like mine, like it barely fits in my hands. Something that's really nice about the Small Rig cage is you slap it on here, and immediately, like, it fills out my whole hand. It has an extension on it that makes the grip quite a bit bigger, and it just feels so much nicer in the hand. Without the cage on it, like, if I'm holding it like this all day, like, my handles start to cramp up. The other big thing about using our cage like this is you have all kinds of little screws, little threads all over the cage, and you can screw all the rest of this onto the cage. You screw that 1/4 into the bottom of it, and it comes with this nice little key thing that lets you screw that on. And now that's locked on there, and now you have a ton of mounting points to mount the rest of the rig. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add the lens. Now, this lens is the Sony 16-35 G Master, and this lens costs more than all of the rest of this combined. This is like a $2,200 lens, and I do not buy this thing for the Sony ZVe10. Most of what I shoot on full frame cameras, and so most of my lenses are full frame lenses. So I don't personally own very many APS-C lenses. The only APS-C lens that I own is the kit lens that comes with it. So just bear with me, do not buy this. What I recommend is the Sigma 16, 30, and 56 trio, all f1.4 lenses. I made a video about those lenses last week that you could check out. I'll leave a link in the description below. And so I won't dive into lenses too deep here, but basically don't get this lens. But for today, this is what we're using. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add some handles to this. So we're gonna add a second handle on the side and a handle on the top. Right now, if you're just gonna shoot like this, normally what you're gonna do is a hand goes under and a hand goes on the side. And it gives you control over your zoom and whatnot, but it's not like, again, your hands are gonna cramp if you're just shooting like this all day. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a side handle. So this is, again, a Small Rig side handle. This is only like $25, $30. All the links for all of this equipment will be in the description below, so you can check all of that out. They will be affiliate links, so it helps out the channel a little bit if you do click through on those links before you buy. You can get nicer side handles. I even have a few nicer side handles, but this is a great handle. This is what I use to shoot the short film My Story. I think it's a great handle. I totally would recommend it. So it just screws into those sides right there. So now when you're holding the camera, you have two good grips on each side of the camera. It makes it a lot easier to hold and to use. The next thing we're gonna add is a top handle. So that just screws right onto the top here. I wouldn't recommend like using it for like a low angle shot to shoot because it's gonna be too shaky. What's really nice about the top handle, it's just easier to carry. You don't have to like carry it like this or like, you know, try to find a way to carry it. It makes it just really easy to grab onto the top handle there and carry it around. Honestly, like this just alone by itself is a really solid rig. If you just stopped here, like altogether, this is like between these two handles and this cage, we're talking about like $100 just to make the handle feel better, give you some more contact points so that you can get a little more steady footage and give you a nice handle at the top. Also just makes your camera look cool. Honestly, I know a lot of people are like, well, that's a stupid reason to like rig out your camera just to make it look cool. But I mean, honestly, when I shoot a lot of TV commercials, I do a lot of work for clients and that kind of stuff. And it makes a difference when you show up to a client location and they've paid you thousands of dollars to come shoot a commercial for them. Even though it's the same camera, I mean, it makes a difference that when you show up and it looks big and it looks cool. Definitely there is an aspect of, oh, I'm super glad we paid this guy, because they don't know, clients don't know anything about cameras. All they know is like, hey, look, that one looks expensive and that one doesn't. They'd rather hire the guy with an expensive looking camera. And that's kind of how that goes. So anyway, sidetrack there, but the next thing we're gonna gonna add is a microphone. Now, this isn't super necessary. I think this is like a $25, $30 mic. I would not use this as like, you know, the only microphone that you're using to shoot a scene. You're gonna wanna have a boom microphone, which is what I'm using. You can't see it because it's off screen, but I'm using a boom mic now, or a lavalier that goes in the jacket or something like that. But I like to go ahead and throw just a cheap microphone like this on the camera just to get a good scratch track so that it's easy to sync the audio later in post. You can just use the built-in audio in the camera. I just prefer an external microphone. I'm just used to using them, and so that's what I'm used to doing. So I've got a cold shoe attachment there. I'll make sure that's linked in the description so that I just slide on and then plug. Now, how are we gonna get the rest of this on here? What we're gonna do is we're gonna add a rail system. So I've got this little small rig rail attachment, and then these 15mm rods that just slide right into there. Put one on each side, and that's gonna give us mounting points for a lot more things. So then we just have to attach this to the bottom of the camera. And to do that, I've got these two little 1/4-20 attachers things, little screws, that we're gonna screw right in there. All right, now the next thing that we're gonna add, that we're gonna attach to this rail system is a battery. So this is an external battery. These are K-Star LP batteries. And basically this is going to remote power the camera. So instead of just using like the W50 batteries that come with the camera, we're gonna use one of these much higher capacity batteries. Now I shot the whole day that we shot the short film, My Story. I shot the whole day on one of these batteries. And I mean, literally we shot for 12 and a half hours that day. So I mean, this guy will last forever. Now, obviously the camera wasn't rolling the whole time. There was a lot of like setting up the lights and you know, that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, it was powered on for a lot of that time, and just one battery pretty much carried me for the whole day. Whereas honestly, for a 12 and a half hour day, I probably would have needed like 5 or 6 of those W50 batteries. So that was definitely a game changer. So to attach this to the actual camera, we've got the battery plate here that we're going to attach to a cheese plate. So basically this is just a plate with about 1 million little threads on it. And we're just gonna attach that right on there with a little 1/4-20 screw that we just screw into the back right like this. And then we've got our Allen key that comes with it to make sure it gets attached nice and tight. So then we've got this little rail piece. This is just gonna attach right onto the back of our rail system there. And we've got 1/4-20s on the bottom and on the top of this that we're gonna use just to attach this right on there. And then we're just gonna slide this right onto the back of the camera, right like that. Now, before we actually tighten that on, we are going to attach the external monitor to this little cheese plate. And we're gonna do that proxy the little small rig magic arm. Now this thing is great because you can twist this around however you want, and it makes it really easy to you know, attach this to the camera and then reposition the monitor however you want. So we're just gonna attach it to that screw right on the top there and just screw it right on. And then this just will go right onto the back of the camera. Like, we can reposition our arm so that we can attach the monitor to the top real easily. Now we'll take our K-Star batteries, take our battery and slide it right into the back there. And then we'll take our other one and slide it onto the monitor, which is powered by the same type of battery. So now we've just got to connect the battery and the monitor to the actual camera. And the monitor will do via a 1-foot HDMI cable that just goes into the side of the monitor. And then we'll need an HDMI to micro HDMI adapter that we'll use to connect the two cables together, and this will just go into the side of the camera. This is a really nice angled cable so that it'll come out of the camera and go down rather than just coming straight out. Makes it a little easier to manage the cables, so that'll just go right in there. And then we'll do the same thing with the battery cable. This is USB to USB-C. You'll want to make sure that the USB-C side is up so that it actually fits in, and then USB-C into the top and USB-C into the side right above the micro HDMI port. And just like that, we have power to the camera. Now, you do want to make sure that before you get your battery plate locked on, you pull this monitor out. Otherwise, you won't be able to swing it out when it's rigged up like this. And you'll want to make sure that you're able to control things and see the camera, because you won't see all of the controls that you'll see on the back of the camera on the external monitor, so you want to make sure that you have access to both. Since this is on the magic arm, you can move it around however you need. If you're getting a low angle shot, you can tilt it up like that. High angle shot, tilt it down like this. If you want to show your actor or talent what's going on, you can just swing it around so that they can see. So that just makes it super, super nice. The last thing that we're gonna add, which honestly is a little bit more for looks than it is for actual practical function. Everything up until this point really has had a practical function, and that really has been my goal of this rig. A lot of people, just rig it out so it looks nice and whatnot. And I do think, like I said earlier, I think there's value to that. I am a man of functionality. I am a practical man that likes everything to have a use and a function and a purpose. And so essentially everything that you see here has a function. You've got the handles for stability on the sides, for carrying on the top. You've got a monitor so you can frame up your shots really nice so you can see from more angles. You've got a battery so that you can power it pretty much all day, rail system to hold the battery and the monitor on. You've got a microphone for a scratch track. All of this is very functional. The last thing that I'm gonna add is more just for looks, just to make the camera look cool. And that is a matte box. Now, a matte box, it does have use, but I never use it for its use. You can put filters in it and those sorts of things, use it to block lens flares. Honestly, when I'm blocking lens flares, I'm just gonna use a flag. But this is the Tilta matte box, and again, this is just to make the camera look cool. I'm gonna screw this onto the end of there, and this just goes right into the side. And that just goes right over the front, and you just use the knob on the side to tighten it on there and hold it nice and tight. Open it up, and this is my ZVe10 rig. This is what, again, I used to shoot the film. My story, I'm thinking about maybe shooting like a TV commercial or something on this. What I'm shooting on right now is the Sony a7S III, and that's what I use to shoot TV commercials, when I normally shoot short films, when I shoot videos for YouTube. Pretty much everything I shoot is on the a7S III and the a7 IV I've got on the side. But if you're interested in seeing like a TV commercial or something like that shot on the Sony ZVe10, because I would not hesitate to shoot one on this. I think it's completely capable of shooting that level of content. But right now you can check out all the behind the scenes of how I shot a short film using the Sony ZVe10. I'm showing footage on the screen right now of what the short film looks like, and honestly, I do not feel like this footage looks like it came out of a sub $1,000 camera, $1,500 with all the rig on it. It just goes to show that it's not the camera that makes an incredible film. It's you as a filmmaker, leveraging the tools and resources that you have at your disposal, no matter what they may be, to release the life and vision that's already inside of you. And like I said at the beginning of the video, make sure you check out, I've got that list of my top 10 lenses and accessories for the Sony ZVe10. The battery mount, I'll give you a spoiler, this battery mount is one of them, but I dive into the lenses you should get and just all the other accessories that you should get for the Sony ZVe10. So make sure you check that out. First link in the description, go pick that up. It's not on YouTube, it's a video, but you can't find it on YouTube because I'm constantly keeping it up to date and updating it. So I can't do that with a YouTube video. I'd have to take it down and re-upload it every, 6 days. But since it's off YouTube, I can, change it in and out whenever I want. And there's also a PDF document linking to all the things that I recommend over there. So make sure you go check that out. Let's get to work.